Hey guys, today I'm going to be telling you about my experience switching from my iPhone 7, which I've had for almost 2 years, to my brand new Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. So far, my experience has been great. Just going to go out and say it was probably the best tech purchase I've made in a while. The reason why I'm saying this is because this phone's a beast. 6 gigs of RAM, huge screen. I feel like all the restrictions I had with my iPhone are just gone in a flash. And I could finally personalize my phone again. Now I'm going to go over a few of the features that I really like. My favorite features that differentiate from the iPhone 7 is going to be one of the big ones would be the always on display. Really like that feature. The size, when I had gotten my iPhone 7, I didn't want a big phone. So I'm sure I could have got the Plus, but the I guess I've changed a little bit over the last 2 years, and I wanted a bigger phone. So the S9 Plus fit that for me. Multi windows really nice to have. I can watch YouTube while I'm text messaging and doing other things. And then one of their newer features that I really like and I've been playing with and having a good time is super slow motion. So basically, you can set up a frame, and whenever motion happens in that frame, it'll turn on super slow mo and give you a 6 second quick clip. And that's been pretty cool. And another feature I didn't think I would miss when I got the iPhone, but I did miss it, and it kind of gave me a little bit of trouble because you don't always have that dongle with you, and that would be the headphone jack. It's nice to have the headphone jack back with the S9 Plus. I think the only thing that I'm missing from the iPhone a little bit would be the iMessage. iMessage is a great system. You can send large video formats and everything with that. Obviously, there's ways around that, like downloading WhatsApp. But just for a regular messaging system that you don't have to have any add-ons, the iMessage is great. But I haven't had any issues so far with that on Samsung. I guess things that I learned over the last almost 2 years was that the iPhone's not that bad. I was a hardcore Android only kind of guy before I got my iPhone. I've had the Note 5, S7, the original Droid, and a multitude of other phones. The iPhone 7 was my first iPhone, and I hated it at first because it was a little bit of a learning curve, but I grew to really like it, and it was a good phone. So I'm not gonna pick sides and say one phone's better than another because I don't think that. I think it's all personal preference. The setup and interface is pretty great on iOS. While there are a few misconceptions, such that the iPhone doesn't lag, because I, in my particular case, did experience lag and freezing screens at certain times, as you do with all phones, because they're basically computers. So far with the S9, I haven't had any issues, but it is a brand new phone. I've only had it for maybe a week or two. Other things that I like about the S9 would be the micro SD slot, so I don't have to have any issues with storage. My iPhone was the smallest one, so it was 32 gigs. The lowest memory on the Samsung is 64, but it is expandable a few hundred gigabytes by just adding an SD card. Because I did run into some storage issues on my iPhone, and while you can use the cloud, I really don't want to pay extra monthly just to have the storage that I should have had from the start. Other than that, there's not too many things that are crazy different. Honestly, these are obviously the two best brands in my opinion. Between Apple and Samsung, and I've used multiple different Apple products as well. My wife had the iPhone X, while she also switched over to the S9 Plus just because she thought it was a beautiful infinity display. So we were gonna switch over. We got her switched over, and then we got rid of the iPhone X, which is a great phone. The iPhone X is obviously better than the iPhone 7 that I had. But in my particular opinion, it wasn't worth me paying that much money to go from the 7 to the X, because I like the fingerprint reader. And that was another thing that, the S9 Plus had that I really liked. And on top of that, obviously, the camera changes. They did a bunch of camera changes. And what else? I think the only other big differentiating factor for me is battery life. The battery life seems to be a lot better on the S9 Plus. I had the iPhone 7 in battery saving mode all day, and by the middle of the day, like 12 or 1 o'clock, I'm running at like 30 or 40%. With the S9 Plus, I've been able to make it through the whole workday, and I'm still normally at like 60 or 70% if I have the battery saving mode on, and just the regular one, not the extreme one. And if I don't have battery saving mode, just by the end of the workday, I'm normally at like between like 50 to 55%. So it's been pretty good on battery life. It has been making it through a whole day. Of course, it is a larger battery. It's a 35 milliamp battery. What else? I think the last thing would obviously be the wireless charging. Of course, we had that with the iPhone X, but I didn't have it with the iPhone 7, and I do like that. And that's probably about it, honestly. There's a lot of differences, but they're both great phones. But I am happy to switch back to the Samsung family, and I guess we'll see in the next couple of years if I go back to Apple or stick with Samsung. But thanks, and I'll hopefully be making some more videos about my S9 Plus soon.